From the world-famous Tavern on the Green in New York City, it's the Roseanne Show. Today, billionaire Donald Trump shares his personal side. Also, filmmaker Michael Moore. And outspoken talk show diva Virginia Graham. And now, here's Roseanne.
Well, a couple of years ago, my first guest was a reverse billionaire. He was $1 billion in the hole, which I don't even know how you would get there, but we'll ask him. Now, but he's climbed all the way back to the top, and we're up here with him in this exclusive restaurant, Tavern on the Green. So please welcome Donald Trump. You are like everybody's dream of America. You know, you live it like the rags, well, you didn't really have rags, but I mean all the riches and everything that America can offer, you got it.
Well, I've had a good time. I've enjoyed myself. I've enjoyed my life. I do things that I really, you know, it's creative. I build these big, beautiful buildings or buy buildings that are already built and fix them. And like the General Motors building I bought last week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And it's
How much did that cost you? Can we ask? Can we be nosy?
So sick what I paid.
Just say between, like...
I paid $800 million.
$800 million for one building?
One building. Wow. I'll tell you if it works in about 2 years from now.
What do you do with it after you buy it?
Fix it, make it beautiful. It's the best location in the city, as you know. We're on 59th and 5th, and fronting also on Madison Avenue. And it's a very big building, obviously. Otherwise, I really paid too much. And it's going to be, you know, it's the best. It's the best piece of real estate. So I'll fix it, make it beautiful, and make it even more successful, and do nicely with it, despite, obviously, a pretty good price.
Well, it's all in the mind, isn't it? Because I read that you said that somebody was trying to be competitive with you about one of your other buildings, and they cut the price for rent to attract people. Right. So instead, you raised the rent, and you filled yours first.
Well, I had a big success recently, 40 Wall Street, which I bought 3 years ago for just the opposite of General Motors. I bought it for very little money, and it's a very big building. It was actually the tallest building in the world for a period of time. It's 72 stories, and it's now the tallest building in downtown Manhattan outside of the World Trade Center. And it was virtually completely empty, and now it's completely full. CNA Insurance, American Express, Bear Stearns, a lot of great tenants, Compact Computer, all lease space there. And it's turned out to be terrific.
But is that true that you raised the price?
I did. I sometimes raise the price because people say, what's going on? They don't understand what's going on, and sometimes they pay it, and sometimes they don't. When they don't, you have trouble. When they do, it's good.
But, Donald, what is going on with the money thing?
Well, I think that...
What's the energy behind money? Because money is really just energy, right?
I think money is energy. I think life is energy. I mean, without energy, you're nothing. And one of the reasons that New York is so great is that in New York we have the greatest energy. And sort of everybody knows it, no matter where they live, and they may like their own place better. But when they come to New York, they always admit that they have more energy. Something happens. They're rejuvenated. And it's an amazing place, an amazing city. Rudy Giuliani's been a great mayor. He's done a terrific job.
But what about the money deal? You're not answering my question.
Well,
what is money to you?
To me...
What does it represent? What's it a metaphor
for? To me, money is a scorecard.
Yeah.
It's how well have you done. It's like when you play golf, you have a scorecard. I think money's a scorecard. I don't do things for the money. I do them for the pleasure, for the art. Building a Trump Tower, or now I'm building a building that's 90 stories tall, directly opposite the United Nations in New York. Or doing Trump International Hotel and Tower in Central Park West, where, you know, it's become a very hot hotel and condo, et cetera, et cetera. I do it for the aesthetic. I do it as my canvas. And then I generally make a lot of money on it. And
so you're saying that the buildings that's your art form, that's your form of expression?
And I love it.
And you don't do anything for the money?
I don't really do it for the money, and I make money.
Okay, because this is what I happen to know too, and we'd like to say that to people out there. When you do stuff for money, you never get any money, do you?
A lot of times when you do it for the money, you don't make money.
Right.
I do it because I enjoy doing it. I love the artistic sense of it. I have a friend, he's a very wealthy guy. He puts cable in the ground, and when he comes up to Trump Tower, he looks and he says, you know, I make a lot of money, Donald, but there's something so artistic. Nobody sees what I do. I put cable in the ground. And I get a penny a foot, but that's a lot of money over a course of a year and a lifetime. He said, but what you do is so artistic. Everybody sees it. Nobody sees what I do. And I sort of thought to myself, that's interesting. But I love what I do. Now, I do other deals other than buildings. The thing I like best is building or creating something that is really monumental in the form of a building.
But we all just know you as the money guy.
Well, people think of
Because
me
we
for
want to know,
money.
how are you getting all this money? How are you attracting this money to you?
Well,
I
mean,
want more money.
Money.
How am I going to get more money?
Money
Tell me.
just seems to come. I mean, money comes.
Money does come.
Money seems to come to me because I do a good job. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing, and I have a sense of what to build. I know when to build, what it should look like, what levels of quality, and people buy and rent my product more so than they buy and rent other people's product.
So you're really saying that you don't do anything for the money, you do it for the aesthetic and the art?
I do it for the enjoyment, I do it for the art, I do it for the aesthetic, and you know, a lot of good things come out of that. It's sort of, if you enjoy something, you'll be successful. I enjoy what I do.
I think that's true.
I really do. I enjoy what I do.
That's the key, isn't it? To
I think
enjoy
so.
it.
I think to a large extent that's the key.
Yeah, because when you enjoy something, you're putting a lot of energy to it, and a lot of energy comes back.
That's right. And you feel it. And Vince Lombardi, the great football coach, said you have to love it. You know, he had this expression, now in that case, you had to love hitting. You had to love going and whacking each other. And it's true. If you don't love it, you're not going to be successful at it.
Well, now, how'd you get $1 billion in the hole? Who's ever done that before?
Well, the market collapsed in 1990, and I went from a couple of billion up to, I mean, I had borrowed many billions of dollars. People said 9, and you know, that was fine.
How do you borrow $1 billion?
It's not easy. You have to be a professional. Your PhD. But my assets were much more valuable than that. And then all of a sudden the asset value went down because we had a depression, literally in 1990 to 93 or so.
Right.
It was certainly a real estate depression. And I had the same debt. All of a sudden the asset values went down. And I went back to work, and I really worked well, and I worked hard, and I focused. I mean, you know, I did take, when you talk about energy, I was so successful for so long, for 15 and 18 years, that I thought it was almost natural. And I took a little bit of a time off. I didn't focus the way I did at one point. And all of a sudden I said, hey, I better get back to work very quickly, or I'm not going to have all of this stuff, and I'm not going to be on your program, and lots of other things, lots of other good things.
You had a huge wake-up call in those years.
I had a wake-up call.
You?
It's a great, I never heard the expression. I had a wake-up call. And I had to either get back to work, or I wasn't going to be living at the top of Trump Tower very long. And I did get back to work, and now my company is much bigger and much stronger than it was in the 1980s. I mean, it's not even close. And
how do they assign worth? I mean, who's the one that's in charge of assigning worth to stuff? Because I know you bought a yacht for $29 million.
Right.
You did a little bit of work on it. Now it's worth $100 million, which is inconceivable. But who's assigning that?
Net worth? Who's assigning worth?
No, just on the boat. I know you say, they say you're worth $1 billion, but you say you're worth $5 billion. But who's ever seen $1 billion to begin with, and how are they going to tell what the hell it looks like?
People say I'm worth different amounts of money, but you know, you can't really. It's very hard to figure what I'm worth because I have buildings, and what's a building worth? What's Trump Tower worth? What's General Motors building worth? What are all these buildings worth? Sometimes they're worth more than other times. But again, you have to like it. If you don't like it, they're worth nothing. Nothing's worth anything because you have to enjoy your life. First and foremost, you have to enjoy. I often tell people and friends of mine, like I have one guy who's not a successful guy, and he did something with golf courses, and he loved it so much, but he couldn't make any real money. I said, you'll make more money if you do that with golf courses, which is what you love, than if you go in what in theory is a better business and a bigger business. He's doing much better now and loves his life building golf courses than he was doing before in really a much bigger business. But he's making more money and he's having a lot more fun.
So you're telling us that we will get money coming to us when we do what we love and do it well.
Well, you have to do what you love. And regardless, you have to do that, even beyond the money. I mean, you have to do. Otherwise, there's no reason to wake up in the morning.
Okay, we're going to commercial, and then we're going to come back and get off the money thing and go to you and women.
Oh, wow.
Well, here we are back at Tavern on the Green with Donald Trump, our guest. Now, Donald, before I ask you about women and, you know, your mother, of course, that's where I think everyone gets their ideas of mothers, or of women. Right,
to a certain extent.
Yeah. Do you have any fun?
I love life. I mean, I love it because I like what I do, and I love it. I like during the day and during the evening. Work hard and play hard, and I think that's probably
So
important.
you have fun that doesn't have to do with work? Because I find that hard.
No, I have fun that really doesn't have to do with work, but I think everything is basically work-oriented, but I do have fun that doesn't necessarily have to do with work.
But you don't travel a lot, or do you? You just...
I just got back from Hong Kong, which was a 20-hour trip, which
Man.
is murder. And that was business. I travel, but I really like my life after my office hours also. I mean, I'm sort of around New York, and I like it.
Well,
New York
are
is a
you
great
seeing
place.
anyone? Can I be nosy?
Not particularly. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people. I'm seeing a lot of people.
Women-wise?
Women-wise, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
into women more than men. I mean, you know, I'm all for guys that like men, but it's just not my thing.
Right. You really
I
like
never
women.
really understood that.
What? Guys that like guys?
Well, I think
Well,
it's
that's not
terrific
you.
if they're really into it, but, you know, and if I were into it, I'd be into it. But I like women. That's my definite preference. I have to say.
Now, which one do you like most, women or money? Honestly.
Now, that could be a tough question.
Is that tough?
That's a tough question. I really like, I really admire and respect women, I have to tell
Right.
you. You know, I joke and we're cavalier, but I think women are incredible. They're smarter than men.
Thank you.
They're tougher than men.
Thank you.
And certain women can lead certain men right down anything they want. It's the power of a certain thing that's just unbelievable.
And does that go for you? Can you be led anywhere?
Oh, yes, I can be led. And
Would you ever go for a fat, middle-aged woman that's a Jew?
It's always possible.
No, you're more into the young, blonde, thin model thing, aren't
I tend
you?
to be, but, you know, you never know what happens. I mean, life changes.
Yeah.
Life can change.
Have you ever been with a fat woman?
No. No. But it could happen. It could happen.
You should try it.
I know. It's good. I can imagine it's very good.
No, I think you'd be pleasantly surprised.
I think I'd be very pleasantly surprised. I have a feeling.
So you're not seeing anyone, you're seeing a lot of people.
Really a lot of people at this point.
Now, why is it, you're not getting married again, I hope. Did you learn your lesson, or are you going to do it
you
again?
tell me, should I?
No, don't get married again. Except for you always had prenuptial agreements.
I did.
Excellent. I learned from you.
I did. You need a prenup. Well, you did. I mean, you had to learn something from me because you've gone through the ringer. There's no question about
This
it.
is my third and final marriage.
Well, that's good. And I think that's terrific. And it sounds like you're getting along very well.
We're getting along, yeah. thank
Fight
God.
every once in a while,
Yeah,
Marie,
well, I
but
go
these are minor
crazy.
details. You know.
Oh, my God, no, we have to talk about this.
Go ahead.
The can't shake hand thing.
Ah, good.
Because, okay, you know, I have this thing, just started a week ago, the hands and the germs, and I know you have it too, right?
I think it's a terrible, terrible custom in this country. And oftentimes I'll be sitting at a table having a roll, and some guy comes up, and he's a nice guy. He says, "Oh, Mr. Trump, I really like you. I really respect you. Could I just shake your hand?" And, you know, you're eating a roll, and he just came out of the men's room, and you're saying, why do I have to be doing this? The only good thing is you tend to lose weight. You don't eat as much because you put the roll down, and that's the end of the roll for the night. And frankly, it's the end of the whole evening as far as I'm concerned.
Really?
Do
you have to run in and wash your hands
Well,
in the
I'd
bathroom?
prefer to.
Is it like a germ thing?
It's a germ. I'm a germ freak. There's no question.
In your house, I
am, even in my, I wash my hands as many times as possible. I'm very clean. I like to take showers. You know, I'm into staying nice and clean.
I think that the, like, being creative and being successful, it seems to, like, go hand in hand with the, like, obsessive compulsive disorder somewhere.
Well, that's right, and probably you and I have that, and along with a few other people.
Oh my
Not
God!
that
Since I came out of the closet, so to speak,
right.
What with the hand thing and all, you would not believe everyone I'm meeting, every famous person has that or some other thing. You said that you like the Japanese culture because they bow.
Well, the one thing I really like about the Japanese culture, because I don't like a lot of things about it, but the one thing I do like is this. I would do that all day long to anybody that they want if they just left me alone.
If they stopped trying to shake your hand.
Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, it would be terrific. And
I tell people I'll hug you or even kiss you, but I'll kiss them on the cheek or something, other than have to avoid touching
I actually prefer that to the other. And, you know, and also studies have come out saying that, you know, you catch colds, you catch everything with the hands. And I just don't understand it. So the Japanese culture has a very, very proper way, and that's a slight bow. And I don't care. I'd get on my knees, I'd do a slight bow, a major bow, it wouldn't matter. But shaking hands is a disaster, but I think we probably have to do it. Do you just not shake hands with people?
Well, I just started. It started like a week ago. I was in my car, and it's like I had about 4 really sweaty hands in a row.
Oh, it's terrible.
Shaking hands with people with sweaty hands, and it you go, oh, because you don't know what it is.
And then you have the people that shake your hand, and they're nice, and they think they're doing a favor, so they shake your hand, and they go like this, and they start wiping their hand off because they think...
They do that.
And it's still sweaty. And those are usually the really sweaty ones because that's why they're doing it. They have a problem. And they sweat, and then and it's just a disaster. You know what I mean. Yes.
I do know what you mean, and I appreciate you talking about it. And I want to talk about your mom, too, because I thought that was so sweet that you said your mother was a housewife, but she was like, she had the best advice, and she was a brilliant woman.
Well, she's a brilliant woman. She's a really good woman, and she is a woman who, I say she's a working woman, but she was always a housewife. She was a great mother,
right,
and still is.
They are workers.
There's a real worker, and she worked just as hard as my father. My father was a builder in Brooklyn and Queens and terrific. But my mother was a really hard worker, and every bit of, you know, they're married 57 years, 58 years, and so they don't understand the word divorce. You know, divorce, it's like, what
was
is
your
divorce?
mother shocked when you got divorced?
It just wasn't a word that ever entered the vocabulary. You know, divorce isn't like an acceptable thing, but it's not even acceptable. It just doesn't happen. But it's a little bit of a different generation, I suspect.
Yeah, totally.
But she's a terrific woman and really a great example and role model, as was my father.
Now, do you think that you're, like, you know, seeing a lot of women and having, you know, divorces and stuff like that, is that because are you ever going to find any woman that measures up to Mom?
No, I doubt it. I think, you know, my mother's very special. And I don't like to think of women in terms of my mother because I'd never touch them. That's another thing that I'm not into. But, you know, it's like...
Well, is that why they... Well, let's go there.
No, my mother's like a person... She's just a great woman and a really wonderful woman. So I don't like to equate the women I go out with.
You mean you don't want to think your mother's a woman?
Goodnight, or beyond that.
You don't want to think your mother's a woman?
No, she's a great woman. I just don't want to equate other women because I literally...
Because there's like this one woman that's like the queen of all women.
She's a special woman. And she never kissed anybody. She never did anything.
She never had sex?
She never had sex. My mother never had sex. She never even thought about sex.
Do you think she shook hands with anyone?
She's perfect. I mean, you know. So how could I go out with anybody like that? That would be terrible. So, but she is very special.
And I bet she feels that way about you, too.
Well,
I bet you're her special little baby.
She better feel that way about you.
So, thank you for being here.
Well,
I'm fascinated by you. You will always remain fascinating to all of us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. You want to shake your hand? You heard any that